Mark Dreyer is the founder of the website China Sports Insider. He features sports news and analysis about China's fast-growing sports industry. We want to welcome you, Mark, to the broadcast. Let's begin with this approach just demonstrated in the story from Filio. Is there a payoff here? Is this a strategy you think that will work?
If there's a payoff, and I think there could be, the payoff won't be for at least 10 years or so. If you think, kids are going over maybe 15, and perhaps that's even too late, it's going to take a decade until they really hit their peak, say 25, to really flourish on the international stage. If kids are going even earlier than that, then that's just going to extend that time frame. So we have to talk about patience, and that was mentioned in the piece you just showed. But really, fans around the world, football fans are not patient, but they have to be in this particular case. It's great, I think, that Chinese kids are getting this exposure to what, let's be honest, is a better level of football in Europe, overseas. So hopefully this can improve them over the long term, but it really is a long-term strategy, and we have to be patient, and we have to wait.
Yeah, Mark, but talk to us about this investment in young players and the growth of football schools, because we've done pieces not just outside of China, but some of these schools inside China are really impressive as well.
There's huge academies in the south of the country, one connected with Guangzhou Evergrande, who have won the league here many times, which is affiliated with one of the Spanish teams. And again, these are encouraging to see these soccer schools, but they have to be run the right way with the best level of coaching. Initially, of course, you're going to import the foreign coaches, but long term, it needs to be Chinese coaches running these, and to do it in the way that is conducive to footballers. Now, I heard, just to give one example, a coach who was teaching at one of these schools, and he said, it was the first time I've seen soccer played in silence. Because people were being very respectful of the coach, scoring a goal and then just politely running back. Now, I'm not saying we should be over-exuberant and so on, but you need to have fun. You need to enjoy playing football. And if the environment is not conducive to that, you're not going to stick with the sport, and you're not going to develop into the best that you can be.
That's wild. A silent soccer match. That's amazing. President Xi Jinping has, of course, outlined this ambitious goal, not just to host the World Cup, but more importantly, to get into it and win it by 2050. Is it on the way to becoming a football superpower, given what you're talking about? I mean, this takes so long, this patience you're describing.
Well, football is a very competitive game globally, particularly on the men's stage. The women, we always talk about the women doing better, but let's be honest, it is a less competitive sport, and that's not to take away from the women's achievements at all. As we mentioned, finalists in the World Cup in 1999 and through to the knockout stages of the current World Cup. It looks like they're going to be facing either Italy or England, which will be tough, but let's hope that they can progress. In terms of winning the World Cup, well, that is still very much a dream. And let me stress, the president did say it was his dream to win the World Cup, not a specific goal. I don't think anyone would be that... well, no one would be confident enough to predict that because, as I said, football is just too competitive. If China can become maybe a top 30 football nation, which would be a dramatic improvement on where they are today, I think currently ranked in the 70s, that would be a success in my book. I don't expect any one country, China included, to be dominating global soccer in however far we're looking on the global soccer stage.
Important distinction. You're absolutely right. He said it was a dream. Mark Dreyer, thanks so much for the time. I appreciate talking to you there in Beijing.